The suspects incorrectly believed the vehicle that contained the victim was associated with one of the two people who shot Tyrone in August. Waukegan Deputy Police Chief Scott Chastain said investigators soon after the homicide recovered the 2009 Ford Crown Vic at Shishi's home in, I'm not going to say where she lives. Detectives set up surveillance and executed search warrants for the vehicle, residence, and garage. The Ford had bullet holes in it. Detectives also located a semi-automatic handgun and a large amount of drugs, 714 grams of cocaine.
What's up, YouTube? I want to once again thank everybody who comes up to me in the street and shows me real love. Y'all don't even know. It keeps me thankful. It keeps my tank full. Now, back to the content.
What's up, YouTube? So, all right, guys. We got an update on Shishi. Y'all know we know Shishi from the whole Jaden and Jemiah saga. I recently just posted an update with them. And within a few hours, someone hit me up with an update on Shishi. Okay, man, this isn't necessarily the greatest update, but I'm gonna bring it to you guys. I'm pretty much just gonna read off the article. All right, so I don't know if you guys will be seeing me on the screen or the words from the article, but I'm gonna read to you guys what's going on and what happened with Shishi. So you guys saw the thumbnail, you see the title. Obviously, she was arrested and everything else. The news article headline says, "Wrong place, wrong time. Pre-trial release denied for mother-son accused in revenge killing of an innocent woman in Waukegan, Illinois." Okay? So the long and short of it is that, just to give you the synopsis, okay? Yesenia Novoa Poveda, who is 48 of Waukegan, died on September 17th after she was fatally shot while riding home in a car from work. Okay, so this lady was riding home in a car from work, minding her business. Jonathan White, 20 of Zion. So Jonathan White, who was 20. Torshiel Hibbler, who is 37. Torshiel, so that's where you get Shishi from, is Torshiel. And so the Shishi. So that's Shishi. And Tyrone Hoy, 17, and that's Shishi's son, have been charged in connection with her murder. Okay, so we're going to read what happened. So the article says, a judge denied pretrial release to a mother and her juvenile son after they allegedly opened fire on a car, killing an innocent woman on her way home from work in Waukegan in a case of mistaken identity. The Waukegan Police Department and Waukegan Fire Department responded around 1:10 a.m. on September 17th to the area of Elmwood and Melrose in Waukegan for a report of a shooting. Officers arrived and found a woman shot inside a black Toyota Corolla, is what the state attorney Nicholas Shepard said. Okay? Lake County Coroner Jennifer Bannock identified the victim as Yesenia Novoa Poveda, 48 of Waukegan. Novoa Poveda was transported by ambulance to the medical center in Waukegan. She was pronounced dead in the emergency room after arriving at the hospital. Shepard said 2 other people were in the car with Novoa Poveda at the time of the shooting and were uninjured. Man, that's like a miracle when you hear what happened. The 3 had been carpooling home together from work, Shepard said. An autopsy was conducted on Novoa Poveda, and Bannock said the results showed that Novoa Poveda died from a gunshot wound to the back. Court records showed Jonathan White, 20, Torshiel Hibbler, 37, and Tyrone Hoy, 17, were charged on September 25th with 3 counts of first-degree murder. Lake County Assistant State's Attorney Jeffrey Fackham said a home across the street from the shooting captured the incident on video. The 3 carpooling had stopped at the intersection to drop off one of the occupants that lived there. So basically, Novoa Poveda and her 2, work buddies, who were all carpooling, They had just dropped one of them off, okay? And then the video surveillance showed a passenger, later identified as White. So that's this is Jonathan White. Exit a black Ford Crown Victoria with white doors. So it was a black Ford Crown Vic, but it had white doors. That's that hood stuff. And opened fire on the Toyota Corolla when the Toyota had stopped. So basically, they were in their Crown Vic. Shishi and the son and the son's friend were in the Crown Vic, and they basically had seen the black Toyota stop, and they thought that the black Toyota belonged to this other person. Now, what happened is apparently, I guess, Shishi's son, Tyrone, was at some type of house party or some other type of gathering in August, because this happened in September. So about a month prior, he was at a gathering, and I guess he had got shot. And so the people who had shot him were still at large. And so I guess they had thought that these people that was inside this car were those folks, or at least one of them. So they were out to get revenge, and that's what happened. So let's read the rest of the article. 2 other occupants of the Ford, identified as Hibbler and Hoy, so that's Shishi and her son Tyrone, also began opening fire on the Toyota from inside the Ford. Facklum said the Ford was seen minutes later at a business with the occupants exiting the car. The Ford was registered to Hibbler, that's Shishi. Police were familiar with her and Hoy, her son, from a separate investigation where Hoy, who was Hibbler's son, was shot at a party in August. Shepard said that investigators believe the suspects misidentified the car that Navoa Poveda was inside. Hoy believed it was the same car that shot at him in August, and Hoy, White, and Hibbler were seeking retaliation for that shooting when they killed Navoa Poveda. Shepard called Navoa Poveda an innocent woman who was killed in the middle of a residential street while on the way home from work, dropping off a colleague. Facklum said Hoy and Hibbler gave 2 names to police investigators who they believe were responsible for the August shooting where Hoy was shot at the party. So basically, Shishi and her son gave police 2 names, okay? One of those people who they named, one of them lives around the corner, my voice cracking, lives around the corner from where the murder occurred. Okay, so they were in the neighborhood of one of the guys who they thought did it. The Ford was seen just minutes before the murder, shining a spotlight on the house where the person lives from an alley. So they was, circling around. They, I guess, went in the alley, was shining the light on the person's house who they believe did it. The suspects incorrectly believed the vehicle that contained the victim was associated with one of the 2 people who shot Tyrone in August. Waukegan Deputy Police Chief Scott Chastain said investigators soon after the homicide recovered the 2009 Ford Crown Vic at Shishi's home in, I'm not going to say where she lived. Detectives set up surveillance and executed search warrants for the vehicle, residence, and garage. The Ford had bullet holes in it. Detectives also located a semi-automatic handgun and a large amount of drugs, 714 grams of cocaine. Damn, Shishi was the plug. All right, and I don't mean to laugh and make light of this, but I just didn't know that Shishi was the plug. So, all right, after White's arrest in Chicago, so after the 20-year-old who was Tyrone's friend, after he was arrested in Chicago, he admitted his involvement in the murder and identified himself in photos. An obituary for the victim said that she enjoyed being home with her family and was always attentive to their care. She had just migrated to Waukegan just months prior to her death, with the dream of a better future for her and her son, is what her obituary said. During a detention hearing last week for White, who is the 20-year-old, Tyrone's friend, Shepard argued that White committed a premeditated murder, riding around with his friend, his friend's mother, and other armed individuals, apparently looking to kill someone out of revenge. There is no greater threat to the community than the taking of an innocent human life, and here the defendant did so without remorse, is what the investigator said. The prosecutor said that the saddest part of the case was that Novoa Poveda was simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Lake County Judge Michael Nerheim granted a petition to detain White following a detention hearing on October 22nd. In quotes, "This shooting is a horrific act of violence that ended a life of an innocent person who had no known connections to the offenders. The offenders opened fire on a vehicle with multiple occupants inside," Chastain said. "It's a miracle that the other two occupants were not struck with the numerous rounds that were fired," he added. Arrest warrants were issued following charges being filed on September 25th, and White, Shishi's son's friend, White, was the first arrested. He was taken into custody on October 9th in the 10,000 block of Wallace in Chicago, Chastain said. The Waukegan Police Department announced last week they had captured Shishi and her son, Tyrone, at an apartment in the 6,000 block of Derby Drive in Gurnee on October 28th. So this was over a month later that they caught Shishi and her son. So they had been hiding out for over a month. Chastain said detectives following up on leads led them to the apartment where they believed the mother and son were hiding out. Contact was made with an apartment resident who helped coordinate the surrender of Shishi and her son. Both were taken into custody without incident. Chastain said a search warrant was executed on the apartment, which led to the recovery of additional evidence in the case. In addition to the murder charges, Shishi is also being charged with unlawful possession of a controlled substance with intent to deliver between 400 and 900 grams. Hoy, who is Tyrone, who is Shishi's son, who was charged as an adult, he's 17, and Hibbler, so Shishi, both appeared for detention hearings on Tuesday afternoon. Fackham said during the hearing that Tyrone has a prior felony, unlawful use of a weapon conviction, and the attorney for Tyrone argued for the juvenile's pretrial release and said he could reside with his grandmother. The attorney for Shishi argued that prosecutors never alleged that his client fired a weapon. He says, "The reason she is here is because she is a close relative to somebody the state believes that they can put in that car. Upon reviewing the videos tendered, it is 100% evident that this female is not the shooter," the attorney said. Judge Nerheim granted petitions to detain both Hoy and Hibbler, Tyrone and Shishi, following their detention hearings. So he didn't grant them any type of bail or release. Nerheim called the murder, so the judge called the murder premeditated and said it appeared that Tyrone and his friends and family attempted to take matters into their own hands in seeking vengeance. Hoy, Hibbler, and White were indicted on the charges by a Lake County grand jury on Wednesday. They're scheduled to appear for arraignment hearings on November 14th. Obviously, that already passed. So as I get more information on this, guys, I will update you. I'm sure that some of y'all may go looking for it already. So I may put a link to this article in the description, but I just wanted to give you guys an update because I had talked to Shishi, I guess maybe right before this happened. And that's just a shocker. That is a shocker. So we're going to, we're definitely going to pray for the victim, all right, and the victim's family. It sounds like she was completely innocent and was simply, like I said, at the wrong place at the wrong time. And, we're also going to pray for Shishi and her son and everyone else that was involved that, they can receive a fair trial and, whatever it is that they deserve, that they get. Obviously killing an innocent person is a horrific thing. So I'm not advocating for them to be released or anything like that. But, I just pray that, for their sanity, their mental health, for their family, and for their ability to, hopefully feel some level of remorse, and for this somehow to result in them evolving to a place to where somehow, some way, their experience can add to and somehow help humanity. Right? We're gonna take lessons from the W's as well as the L's, okay, in life. And so just wanted to update you guys, and just we'll be on the lookout for the next update. All right, that's it.